Shoma gang, how are you guys? Happy belated Freedom Day. I hope you're having a good long weekend. I'm at work, and so I'm gonna talk about that Freedom Day thing. So I'm not gonna talk about it in that context because Freedom Day was about the first time us as Black people in our own homeland were allowed to vote in our own leadership that we trust could help us grow, could make life better for us as a people in general, you know? So that is basically what that was about. Where we started, you know, acknowledging, it wasn't immediate, but acknowledging that we are people, that we can make decisions for ourselves, and that our future can be in our hands, that it can be of our own doing. So I'm going to talk about just the freedom to be you. That's what I'm just going to digress to. I've always been a weird girl. I am a very, very weird girl. Look at my earrings. My earring says, I love my fro. And I don't have one. So I'm like that girl. And I've always been the outsider. A group of light people, I'm the dark one. In a group of skinny people, I'm the big one. In a group of smart people, I'll think that I'm the dumb one. But I always thought it was a curse. I always thought it was, why was I made different? Why should I be different? Why can't I fit in? I always wanted to fit in. It was a big dream of mine. But it wasn't supposed to be like that. I believe there's no coincidence under the sun. On this God's planet that she created, there is no one thing that happens by mistake. And as I grew up, I realized that I could either choose to continue hating myself or just be. Because I won't lie, I did try the fitting in things quite a few times, you know. If people do this, I would try to do that so I can fit in. And all the time, every time, it never worked. To the extent that even if I'm doing the normal things that normal people do, in the exact way that they do it, I still stand out. And I came to a realization that there's a reason I'm like that. There's a reason I'm like this, because I'm not the only one in the world who is sitting hating the fact that I'm supposed to fit into this kind of dress, that I'm told that I'm supposed to walk this kind of way, work this kind of job, speak this kind of way, you know? So at some point I just started embracing it. There's nothing I could do. That's who I am. And as I started embracing it, I found that I'll find myself in the presence of other people that do the same. But to the outside world, the world that I thought was hating me for being different, judging me from being different, you find people looking at you and saying, how are you this free? How are you this carefree? How are you just living life on whatever level, unworried? I remember there's a lot of people that ask me, do you ever get stressed? Do you ever get angry? And best believe I do, ne? I'm a very emotional human being, and I do. And they're like, how are you always so happy? And I'm like, no. I got to a place where I started getting comfortable with the fact that this is who I am. This that I've been given is what I've been given. I haven't been given a 32 or a yellow skin. I've been given this, and if I'm not embracing this, who will? If I'm not embracing this, who's going to appreciate it if I'm not? You know? So I'm talking about that today, guys. There is something that you have that the world doesn't. There is something that you have that the world is lacking. And if you're still trying to fit into spaces that were never created for you, you're leaving a gap. And the day you die, you're going to the grave with all the riches that you were supposed to transfer over into this world. In every space, in every element that you find yourself in, there is a light that can only be given by you. Do not take that for granted. Sometimes I'm like, am I doing the right thing, God? Am I being the right person? You know, because I'm a people pleaser. But I've just gotten to a point where I'm like, I'm going to do me. Because God created me this way. And He knows why. And so, you know, I'm really dealing with myself in terms of this honesty thing. I always want to hide, you know, we want to look the part and be like, we're those great people that do great things. But this weekend I was speaking at an event, and the demographic, the people that were there are church people. They're people I know from varsity when I was in SCO in that church. The people that I've met visiting other churches, that people have, you know, engaged with on a religious, spiritual level, right? And for the past couple of years, I haven't been keeping very close contact with most of them because I was just going through my own stuff, and I always thought the church will never understand me. And so I stood before people and I shared what was going on for me in the last couple of years that I disappeared. And what I was sharing essentially was a testimony that God kept me through all of my troubles. But to share for God to shine, for God to be seen as God, I really had to go outside of myself and outside of my ego and outside of my pride, to expose even my weaknesses, even my deepest flaws, even the deepest, darkest places that my family doesn't even know. And as I stood there, I knew why I was doing it. I knew it was for the glorification of God. And obviously my ego was still saying, how are these people going to look at you afterwards? I was so uncomfortable. I was shaking that entire, I think I was speaking for like 40 minutes. I was shaking that entire time. I'm like, how are these people going to look at me now? And I won't lie, I couldn't even have real conversations with the people that I knew. These people are my friends. I couldn't even have real conversations with them after the event because I'm thinking they're judging me. But it was so crisscrossed because my presentation, or what I was sharing, was about how you shouldn't care about being judged. But now I'm at a place where I'm like, it doesn't matter if they're judging me. They could be sitting, they probably aren't actually, because like I'm just deciding people are bad and they're not. But even if they are judging me, what God wanted of me in that particular situation, He did, and He did it through me, and it was never about me. And so I'm going to continue to live my life as the weird, crazy girl that I am. And I'm going to stand in platforms that sometimes I feel I'm not worthy of standing on, you know? But I know that I'm this way because as Jesus was, and He said, you're going to do all I've done and greater, I am. And so in my weirdness, in my craziness, I see that there are people that will never want to even step towards a church because they think they're too different to be in a church because they'll stand out. Now I realize that it's my job to reach those places, those dark places that some Christians will never ever actually want to step foot on. That's my purpose, that I've realized it. My purpose is to share with the next person that I'm kept by grace, and on a daily basis it gives me new mercy and new capacity, and mine is to share that hope with the next person who thinks there is none. This is a very, very long video. If you're still watching at this point, thank you. But I know it's because you and I are like, you're a game changer as well. You're a groundbreaker as well. You're a trailblazer, trendsetter as well. Don't take that for granted. There's a reason God put that in your heart. There's a reason God made you the way you are. May you shine in everything that you do this week. Have a blessed week, guys. Bye.